Subscribe now.
Okay, so now let's talk about some burst sequences. So normally in the beginning of the game, I'm in camo. So what I'll do is that pretend this is the healer, this is the second DPS, this is your main target. So I'll mark the main target for you. So I'll be in camo. I'll pre-double tap. I'll sprint in, trap when I'm near, scatter this DPS, pop my ring down, and then go behind a wall and then pop rapid fire. And then there I pop an aim shot or kill shot in between, arcing shot, and just try to basically maximize the wall hacks. So the reason why I do it in that order is because you want to get that double tap kind of rolling so that when you do get out of stealth, your damage can be faster and instantaneous. So I like to double tap right before I'm near a healer, and then I sprint in using cheetah, so it's faster. You can actually just run through the healer and drop a trap, land. And then I'll scatter the off DPS, so that protects your Ringo, and then usually the main target is stunned by my teammate, and then I'm behind a pillar for extra protection, so everyone is CC'd, and they're just taking the full ring damage. Okay, so that's kind of like your ideal opener. And then another thing you can do if you're kind of lucky and they're playing kind of slow is you can actually start off, shoot someone until you get your trick shot buff. Then you can feign death, camo, and do the same sequence where I don't have a sprint, but you sprint in, double tap, trap, scatter off DPS, pop your ring, pop your trinket, pop rapid fire, and pop whatever happens after aim shot, kill shot, etc. And this allows you to do the maximum damage, but this is kind of rare because most people in arena just kind of rush in, and then when they see you out, they'll just getting a resell is not as common. That you sacrifice feign death, which you might need later, and you could possibly also feign death, camo, disengage, and then that sacrifices your disengage, which you actually need. So this is kind of more of a twos opener, if anything. Now the second go is usually happens, you did your first go, you almost killed someone in the opener, they blew some defensive cooldowns, and now they've done their go, and now it's time for you to do your second go. So usually by then, I'm pretty far away initially, so I'm starting to try to move in to trap the healer, usually around when trap is around 5 seconds. So the reason why is that you don't want to wait till your trap is done, then move in, because you have to do so many things like juke fade, juke death, juke ward, people will stop you, juke grounding, so you want to kind of move in around 5 seconds, and this way you have that free time to juke things or just get interrupted, because some people don't pay attention to cooldowns, but also just maximizes your goes, your amount of goes, so pretty much you're potentially scoring a kill every 30 seconds because you have your first trap, and then this is your second one. So in that case, I pretty much will trap the healer, pop rapid fire, pop true shot, and here you want to basically dump as many aim shots and rapid fire as possible. So you want to prioritize not capping your aim shots and just pretty much just dumping it, and then only hitting arcane shot if you don't have any rapid fire or aim shots available. But another thing, be careful, as you can see here, you want to basically rapid fire, or don't make sure not to rapid fire when your true shot window is over, because that'll reset the cooldown, and you always want to have rapid fire for your goes when you trap, because you want to save, or you want to do as much damage during that time, and because of this conduit here, which I explained earlier. So whenever someone is or healer is CC'd and their DPS is in trouble, you're pretty much doing the maximum amount of damage you can possibly do during that time to score a kill. Okay, so let's kind of go over some kiting tips that I have. So initially, you always want to kind of stay far away, and then keep people kind of slow. So when someone's coming at you, you can custom shot. That's kind of a given. You want to keep them slow, but then you pretty much want to trade one of your gap spacer creators for one of their distance closers. So when someone comes at you, first thing you want to do is just use one of your freedoms, your disengage, something like that, because you want to pop freedom and disengage, because then after you disengage, say they charge you, you disengage, and then they have another gap closer, then you have nothing. You're just stuck here, kind of just just taking it. So again, another thing about that is that you want to disengage first, just because you want to basically maximize this conduit. So first thing you do, disengage. Next one that I normally do from there is trap and freedom. So there you reduce your disengage cooldown and you use freedom. So now they can't snare anymore, and you slow them. They're in a snare trap, and then you're pretty much free to get a little more distance. And then the next thing, if this is more for threes, this is more for twos rather than threes, because you kind of use scatter to protect your go before, but then if they get close to you again, you can just scatter them. And then if you're really like what I see rank 1 people do like jellybeans is that you can track anything like their storm bolts, and you can pretty much scatter a storm bolt right when they're getting close or when the cooldown's up, just so that when you're bolted, they're pretty much scattered at the same time, so they pretty much do nothing during their stun. Now another good combo you can do is that you can disengage and binding shot, and this is good just because they stay in place, and then you can just get a free aim shot off. You get more distance, and then they can't really. They have to use another gap closer. So warriors say like you disengage and then you bind them. So basically you might catch them in their charge. So now like they charged into the binding shot, so now they wasted that gap closer, and then they're like, oh shit, I'm stuck, and I used my gap closer, and he just he basically just got a 2-for-1 from that. So that's just general kiting tips that I have, and always try to like stay really far away, just to maximize your mastery. And another thing that I thought about right now is that whenever you're fighting any melee, charge and things like fell rush are linear moves. So when someone charges you, they kind of move in a straight line, or if they fell rush you, they have to go in a straight line. So always try to like be running around a pillar in that sense, so that they can't charge you because they can't really be in line of sight of you, and they can't use that gap closer, and then you'll have a tar trap around, which then causes you just to pretty much keep them snared while you're just waiting for your gap closers to get away. And then as for fell rush, they pretty much waste the fell rush to try to get to you, but then by the time they rush from like here to here, you're just around the corner. They waste fell rush and you dodge that damage. So kind of like run around a pillar whenever you can for those classes that have the linear gap closers. And then another thing that's useful just for general kiting is you always just want to kite in a way that you're pulling the melee further away from their healer, so that by the time your disengage comes back after the first that sequence, you'll have it again to disengage from them and land a trap. So let me go over that once my cooldown is ready, but I'll make a transition here. Okay, so for some general trap landing tips, so like I said before, with the movement, you basically want to disengage first, drop your tar trap, and then your freedom after, and then scatter them, they get close to you, binding shot with the first disengage. And then once your second disengage is back, you want to basically pull the melee further away from the healer so that they have to run towards you in the open, and then you can, when they're here, you can like disengage over and then trap the healer. So now they are pretty much over here, their healer CC'd, and then you're out of here, preferably near a pillar, and you pop your damage and you're safe. So that's one way to trap. The disengage trap is one way to trap. Now as for the other versions, there's your typical just concussive shot, go up and trap. Now for juking, this is how I kind of think about it. So your first trap is you're going to be safe because you should be in camo. So this is kind of like your free sprint, run through, get a trap. Should be free. They don't know you're coming, and etc. So that one is a free trap. So as for the other ones, you kind of want to run close, and this is your second go, which for me, I call it kind of the small go, because you're just mainly using true shot rather than your ring. So you're not gonna really bursting one. It's kind of more of like, this is like the DPS go in that sense. So during this time, I sometimes just like just to go up and just trap him. And if you don't land the second go trap, it's not as crucial. It's more of like I think it's like, it's not as bad, but what you want to do is you want to get information. So during that time, you just run up and say you stay still and throw the trap. You basically have conditions on to say that, okay, if I run in and I stay still and I'll throw a trap. And you basically are putting that in their mind. So then on your next trap, which is the third go, when you do have a ring, you run up to them again and they just kind of stop. And then they were conditioned from before. It's like, oh no, he's gonna trap, and they'll pop something like death. So then from there, you're like, okay, so now obviously you got that, and then you do the same thing again, where you basically run up again, you stop, and then you kind of maybe move a little bit just to juke them out, and then they basically will blow bait or something. So your second trap, you want to basically do a pattern, just the conditions so that your next trap you can do something that's a little different to secure the trap. Since you don't really have any guarantee as marksman like an intimidation stun to trap, or you can have your teammate help you. But I play with the Rep Paladin, so the Hodge doesn't come back as reliably on the second trap. So those are kind of what I do to trap. Just cause a shot, go up, stay still, instantly trap, stay still, and then instantly trap. Just to analyze it, or just like run up, and maybe I'll just on this one I'll run up and I'll do my face. I'll run up, I'll throw a tart trap, then I'll wiggle a bit, fake, and then throw a trap, and then from there, see, I've conditioned him to think, oh wow, he's just gonna go up to me and do some fakes. So his next trap will probably do the same thing. But then on the third ring, or on the third trap, like I said with the ring, I just go up and just instantly just trap him, because they think, oh, he's just gonna go up and juke me, but I'm actually not. So try to be a little tricky and try to analyze how they react to your traps on the second trap, which is around your true shot go, rather than the most important trap, which is in concordance with your ring. Alright, and that concludes my 9.2.5 Marksman Kyrian Hunter guide. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to message me in game or hop on to stream when I'm on. I'm not streaming that often right now because I'm busy with work and schooling, but hopefully you guys found that helpful. And then if you did, please subscribe. I'll be trying to make further guides in the future. Anyways, that's it. See you around.
Subscribe now.